I suppose off the field before the game as well, you had no doubt what the major talking point was going to be. What was going to be the lineup after Villa? And it's the same, except a massive difference. Cody Gakpo goes to the bench and Florian Wirtz comes in on the left-hand side. And probably I, like many other fans, and obviously interesting to see from a journalist side, was like, brilliant. That's what we wanted to see. Florian Wirtz from the left for ages and, given a run and a real chance there. I suppose to start with, based on last night on what we saw, is there a case that's Liverpool's strongest 11 in the current situation right now?
Yeah, I would certainly lean on that side because, you're coming up against one of the toughest opponents you've faced all season and putting in one of your best performances. And it's not just that, really. It was, it's not just that the team did really well. It was just kind of, it seemed better for both the collective and the individual for kind of several reasons, really, that I felt. I mean, just talking about the collective, I mean, it allows you to put that midfield three back together. So you've got Szoboszlai leading the press, you've got Gravenberch as a number 6, and you've got McAllister in there knitting the whole thing together. They are one of the best midfield units in Europe, they proved last season. And so putting them back together makes an awful lot of sense. Of course, the effect that Wirtz has on the collective as well, in terms of, I think he helps them in build up down that side. He's way more adept at taking the ball with his back to goal and kind of coming in and finding little passes to get it off than Gakpo is, who wants to be running at the opposition goal. So it helps in terms of that. Wirtz can kind of drift in and make it a box midfield to make it easier to kind of fire passes around and get through. He's really, really good at winning second balls as well, if you allow him to do it in certain areas. Because, I mean, when he's been in that number 10, he's been kind of stationed up the pitch, I think, an awful lot. Yeah. Kind of really, really pushed out of it. Whereas, when you get him in that left, he kind of can naturally come into deeper positions, not just to exchange passes, but also, like I say, those second balls. I think he makes 6 recoveries last night as well, because he's just working down that side, and he's got brilliant work rate. And so, like I say, I just think it makes the team as a whole absolutely better and solves issues that they've had in build-up and kind of second balls around midfield. But also from the individual perspective, he's just operating in the spaces that he did for Bayer Leverkusen, and that is where he's played his best football of his career, and so it makes sense to put him there. So, he creates 5 chances last night, more than any other player who plays in the game, and there's your evidence, really, that it kind of works for him. And I understand that there's all this talk about, well, Arne Slot promised him the number 10 position and he's going to be this and that. But I don't think he's going to be disappointed by this, because he wants to play in a winning team. And he's going to be, if he stays in this position, he's playing in a winning team and operating in the areas where he's really happy to do it. So that's everything he wants, really, surely. And so I just think it solves Liverpool's issues. I think it solves Florian Wirtz's issues. It just seems like the perfect solution to the problem that Arne Slot has faced so far, and I think it's something he should absolutely stick with. And as you've thankfully very kindly put up there, that I've written this, gone into this at length with some graphs and graphics you might want to look at, if anyone wants to have a look at that piece as well.
I mean, you broke it down, the article, about all the numbers and like recoveries, chances. This again, it's going to sound like bagging on Cody Gakpo, but it's just the differences in the player. Florian Wirtz allows us to press better as a unit. He's a far better presser. He covers more distance as well, back to some tune than Cody Gakpo. It plays to all his strengths as well at the same time. I suppose my question around this is, a lot of people see Cody Gakpo as almost Arne Slot's second son in the way the lineups have been announced this season. It does seem a solution that you want to see it longer term, don't you? Like, give it a run. And that's not trying to be about bagging on Cody Gakpo. It's about what's best for the team right now.
Well, the thing is, Gakpo's still going to get an awful lot of games, because there's still an awful lot of games in the season. And I thought he was, he contributed when he came on last night and added some threat for Liverpool as well. So, it's not to say he's not going to be an important player anymore, but he's very much, he's what he was last season, which is that he was the guy who kind of shared the left wing with Luis Diaz, and they both kind of job shared there. So, I don't think he's one who's kind of knocking on the door and absolutely denying, demanding that he be in the team all the time. He can be rotated in and out. Wirtz is a different case, because you've got to get him in the team, because you paid 100 odd million for him, so you really have to use him. So, I don't think Gakpo will be absolutely against it if he's on the bench from time to time and has to impact it from there. And as we said, for all those reasons, it just makes the team as a whole completely better to have Wirtz there. It gets the best out of Wirtz as well. It's a no-brainer to keep him there going forward.
And I suppose the final one on this, as you said, because they had the three, so they were almost able to combine as a four in midfield. So he gave us an overload in there at times. Like first, he wasn't on the left, as in like a classic left winger. He was coming in, and he should have had an assist for Szoboszlai, obviously coming from the middle, going wide and putting it in. So it gave that variety. But you saw all of a sudden, Andy Robbo had space down that left-hand side, and you must be. Milos Kerkez must be on the bench thinking, why aren't I allowed to run down there? Or like, where's my space been all this time?
Yeah, and this is, again, is a thing where you just think Wirtz, with his weight of pass, his awareness, would be a better fit for Kerkez down that side as well, and would give him a little bit more to kind of work with in terms of actually playing him in from time to time. So again, it's something that might even get more out of another signing in Kerkez and might work for that. So, yeah, it just feels like I'm not sure why Arne Slot's been so reluctant to use it up to this point, but I think he's now stumbled upon this. This is a bit of a kind of long-term solution. We'll see whether he persists with it going forward, but I really think the case is there that he should.
Yeah, it really is. And there's a few comments about it's not about bagging on Gakpo, it's about what's good at the moment and what works well, and it just seems to solve so many issues last night. In terms of the Trent situation, I mean, we still had media telling us we shouldn't boo him, which is crazy. What anyone thought was going to happen. I know there was the bit around the mural, but it's interesting that Virgil was matter of fact, wasn't he? Like, if you talked to Trent, nope, like, move on, Theo Walcott, audible type of thing. But is it more just, I kind of getting frustrated with being told how we should feel as Liverpool fans about this situation?
Yeah, I thought Jamie Carragher absolutely nailed that. I saw something he said on CBS about the fans feeling kind of, look, if you're going to brand yourself as the local lad done good who loves Liverpool, you don't get to then just go and join Real Madrid and everyone be like, oh, nice one, mate, see you later, have a great time, particularly when it's a Liverpool you're leaving that is winning trophies and doing well. So, you know, that shows you're not the fan who's on the pitch, because you or I, for example, probably would not take that decision to do that. So, yeah, I thought that was it. It's as simple as that. And the fact is, as much as people had kind of booed him, all the argument about booing him when he's a Liverpool player, he isn't a Liverpool player now, and he's coming back, and the job is to unsettle him in the way that you unsettle every other Real Madrid player, and Liverpool absolutely did that, because he did basically nothing when he came on the pitch, really. So that 100% worked, and yeah, I don't know why people who are on the outside can have the say on it if they want to, but you just got to kind of ignore that, I guess, because I think a lot of it's been total nonsense, really. And I think Liverpool fans know how they should feel. They know how they should approach a player coming back, and I think they absolutely nailed it, to be honest. And one thing I would say on the mural, I don't really understand, and I hope this doesn't come off as kind of bitterness or any kind of, don't want to talk like that about footballers or be like that, but I cannot understand why it's still there, for all the reasons that Jamie Carragher spoke about, in terms of, what's the quote that's on it, just a normal lad from Liverpool whose dream came true. It's just doesn't really make a lot of sense for that still to be up, does it, now, when he's gone to Real Madrid on a free transfer. He's coming to Anfield hoping to damage Liverpool's hopes of winning the Champions League. That doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, to be honest. So I don't really think that should still be up, if I'm honest, and therefore it probably won't get defaced if it just gets painted over and maybe put someone on who, is Liverpool through and through.
Yeah, it's not saying anything's right or wrong. I was actually astonished it's taken this long for it to get defaced or someone to put something on, because we know what the reaction's been from some time. It's honestly surprised me it's this long. Not that makes it right, but yeah, we'll see if anything happens on that one. And in terms of the squad, it was great to see Curtis Jones back in as well. So he's available, another body needed. And Arne Slot kind of danced around it, because it was a weird press conference. I'm sure the Spanish journalists seemed obsessed with just asking him about how good Real Madrid are. But from the bits we got, sounds like Isak's quite close as well.
Yeah, fingers crossed for the Manchester City game, which again, it would be just such a boost to get him back. And, if you need a goal late on, I mean, I actually thought Chiesa did well when he came on
Yeah.
again yesterday. But, Isak, in terms of the level of quality he can provide in goal threat, to bring him off the bench late in games like this would be really, really helpful. And, just be nice to get him fit as well. So, yeah, hopefully he's back in for the Manchester City game, and the squad is starting to look a bit fitter and better now, and the bench is improving, which is massively helpful. So yeah, hopefully he can get back, because I think that's one of the factors as well recently that Liverpool have had to deal with, is they've had a lot of injuries, a lot of games in a short space of time, and a lot of away games as well. So the injuries easing off will help things.
Will do. But just seeing it this morning, it's been confirmed that obviously he's had his groin, but Isak's been called up by Graham Potter for Sweden. Like, surely, would he not just benefit from a rest? I know that's a Liverpool fan talking and Sweden won't care, but is that the best thing for him?
Yeah, I mean, probably not, to be honest, but I think, Sweden have been very understanding, haven't they, in recent games in terms of how they've managed him, you've got to say. And so they probably feel like, well, let us use him if he's going to be fit. And if he does come back into the squad for Man City, then he is fit to go. So, yeah, Liverpool have just got to kind of watch on from behind the sofa and hope he doesn't get any further knocks.
Yeah, which we'll be doing for everyone else, because no one really wants international duty, but it is coming after this City game. And the final off the field one, I mean, this is brilliant in one sense and mystifying, because Virgil van Dijk, FIFA Pro Player of the Year, in the Team of the Year, 5 years now, so in it for this year. So, well-deserved, correct decision. Mo Salah not being in the FIFA Pro Player or Team of the Year with the likes of, again, it's going to sound bitter, but Cole Palmer and other attackers, that is just mystifying after last season, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't Yamal on the right wing as well? I think I might be right in saying. I mean, I think Yamal's an unbelievable player, and he's going to be, if he carries on at his current pace, going to be a world class footballer, ridiculous level, because he's only still so young. But he wasn't better than Mo Salah last year. That is absolutely laughable. So, but we're used to this. I mean, Salah kind of getting snubbed in the Ballon d'Or rankings as well. He should have been much higher, and yeah, you just kind of used to it at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah, it probably shouldn't really be a surprise, but yeah, as ridiculous as these things are.